Welcome back to my garage. I took a week off, and it's not your typical creator burnout which you see all over YouTube. It was that relationship issue, and through good communication, better communication than ever, the relationship issue is pretty much sorted, or at least well on its way to be sorted, and it's not really the issue anymore. The issue is how I reacted to that issue. We're gonna get to the engine and hopefully make it run, but first I think I need to explain. Like, there's always been a slow descent into madness with me. Always. I had to take some time off and get my head straight again, and I think that was the best decision I've ever made. And I spent the entire week just painting the house and thinking, becoming friends with myself again. That's the thing. I've always been my own best friend. I've enjoyed spending time with myself so much, like sitting for hours thinking about myself and like playing around in my own mind. Suddenly I became my own worst enemy. It was this golem situation where I was creating worst case scenarios for myself and then playing them out in my head. And I have a very vivid imagination, like almost the same as real life in my own head. And that's a good thing for like creativity and the stuff I normally spend my time doing. It's not such a good thing when your mind is stuck in like darkness. And I was quickly plummeting into the void. And I felt there was some progress in conversations with this part of me up until halfway through the week, where it wasn't that much of a war anymore, but more of a discussion. Then suddenly something inside me just woke up. A part of my emotional system that's been locked away, it seems. Unconscious. I wasn't aware. I thought I had a good connection with my emotional side, but halfway through the week, suddenly something just clicked, and the golem went away, and I suddenly saw things with much better clarity, and I suddenly understood things about our relationship and about how things had become difficult, and how all the misunderstandings, and also my own, like I wasn't connected to my own emotional side, even though I thought I was, and this led to me not being able to connect to other people's emotions in a proper way, even though I thought I did. And this caused a lot of frustration, because like being told you're not connecting when you're trying to connect as hard as you can. But I actually didn't have it in me. It was locked away somehow. And I really can't, like, there's some things that could be the reason for this, and but I really don't know. It could be like my father has been mentally ill all my life, since as long as I can remember, and that wasn't really dealt with in any way. Like, it was just pushed under the carpet. I can't remember anyone like talking me through that when I was younger, at school or kindergarten or even at home. It was always just like pushed away, and it could be that I created like a wall. Like I got so good at keeping difficult things aside that during the years I forgot the difficult things, or forgot how to properly deal with stuff like that. That's the only reason I can think of. Or maybe I was just born without that side, and suddenly it came to me after 40 years, or 38. Anyways, halfway through the week, on that day, when suddenly something just clicked inside me, like all the darkness was gone, and I was just walking around for hours in like a feeling of bliss, and like I was touched by everything. Like I was on the verge of crying, but happy. A really strange thing going on, and like I was feeling like how I see all these born again Christians seem to be feeling, not in a religious way, but really weird. And after that, everything has been slowly moving in the right direction, and now my only fear is that the darkness will return and Golem will be back, and but I'm in a much better place now than what I was just a week ago. And that was it's the best decision I've ever made. taking that week off, spending time painting the house and getting my head sorted. Maybe this can help someone, I don't know. Now you know. On to the engine. Welcome back to my garage. Last time we were fighting a leaking engine, and we ended on JB welding the rotary valve housing to the engine case versus using a gasket and glue. Hopefully that worked. We'll find out now. I want to thank all of you for the support in the comments on the previous video. It really helps a lot. And also I want to thank all my new Patreons for the support. I said it really helps, like giving me some security, the Patreon, like the support on Patreon. And it might sound weird that money helps, but the thing is, I feel like my recent events have made me not as productive and not as engaged with this, which means I'm not producing the same like quality, and that affects my income, and this is my main job. So if I don't produce the quality, and maybe everything goes to hell. Hopefully not. So, but it really helps a lot. I think we're good. Let's hope it runs better now. If you're wondering why the carb looks different, it's because I installed this velocity stack, and that was so I could hold this reed valve onto the carb, testing if blowback was the problem before we found all the leaks. We can still do that if it doesn't run now. The rotary valve is opening 140 degrees before top dead center and closing 85 degrees after top dead center. Fairly normal numbers, but I'll try shifting it so that it opens earlier and closes later. I'll shift it by 1 notch. Should be perfectly capable of starting with the current numbers though. Shifted by 60 degrees, opens 200 degrees before top dead center and closes 25 degrees after top dead center. So this should work well for a low RPM. Well, that didn't help at all. I should stop doubting myself. I know the rotary valve timing numbers are acceptable, or actually pretty much ideal for an engine like this. Could be clearance is far too high now. Clearance is 0.9 millimeters. That's excessive. I've got a 1.2 millimeter spacer. I can remove 0.6. So run a 0.6 millimeter spacer instead. And that'll bring us down to 0.3, which is a good number. Making the housing part so thin really screwed up things for me here. If I'd made it thicker, it wouldn't bend and stuff, and probably would have sealed with the gaskets. And we probably wouldn't have struggled with the clearance issues because it wouldn't deform and cause all kinds of issues. Lesson learned. hell. It doesn't start, it doesn't want to run at all, which is puzzling to me, because now we're running fairly normal transfer geometry, a normal exhaust duct, normal crankcase volume, and a rotary valve, which should work perfect with the case volume in there now, 1.25 to 1 compression ratio. And we fixed the leaky rotary valve. There is something going on, something weird. And I don't know what it is. I'm in a much better place for troubleshooting now that my mind can actually focus and Gollum is gone. So let's go systematically to work here. Let's start with checking the rotary valve timing again.
Like my soul is set on fire.
139.9 and it barely cracks open. So that's correct. 275. 360 minus 85. And there it's closed. Perfect. Rotary valve timing is set correctly. Firing at 10 degrees before top dead center, and there is spark. Shouldn't be an issue. And we're seeing just above 100 psi. Compression is good. Might be the firmware of my Ignitec unit has become corrupted. I'm gonna update the firmware and see if that helps. Maybe I'm not able to upload firmware through USB. A bummer, I cut the serial cable off. I can't find that serial connector, but I really don't think there's anything wrong with the firmware. Let's delete some points here and run a flat line 10 degree curve like that. We'll do the same thing for advanced too, just in case. Let's double check everything here. 1 lobe per revolution, 1 pulse per revolution. Auto polarity. Everything seems to be in order. There's no limiter on. And the kill switch is working as it should. The carb is getting fuel. Let's reinstall the plug and carb and try starting it. And we'll maybe it's magically better now versus 2 weeks ago. The strangest behavior. Could be the hall sensor is too close to the part of the driver that has no lobe but is solid, and that it's picking up erratic signals. I'm gonna space it out a little bit and see if that helps. About 1.5 millimeters further away. The mind boggles. If this is a rotary valve sealing issue, which I highly doubt, then we should be able to figure that out by installing a reed valve outboard of the rotary valve. And I think this motorized bike unit can be used or easily adapted. compromise do you want your intake geometry? Yes, please. Really is the strangest behavior. I'll have to sleep on this. It's nice actually being able to focus on this problem though, and not that other stuff. Tomorrow. I actually spent all of yesterday thinking on and off about the issue here, trying to solve it in my head. And I can't find anything wrong. It's running a little bit easier when I choke the carb, when there's more fuel entering the engine, which might mean that it's friction from the rotary valve that is our problem. Could be. It is weird that this should be a problem, because on my old engine, the one sitting in the land speed bike, I'm running exactly the same configuration. Carbon fiber valve in aluminium housing. The only difference is the alloy of the cover, and also that both the surfaces the valve is riding up against are untreated surfaces in that engine. Not machined, and probably a much thicker oxide layer. That could be something. We're gonna start by removing the rotary valve altogether, and as there's a reed valve here now, and see if it runs better. Then we'll know it's friction that is our problem. So now we know it's friction, rotary valve friction. You won't believe how good it feels to have found the problem. Now I know the engine will run next time. I'm gonna end the video here on this success, because I haven't got time to start making the inserts and stuff. But and also clearly the oxide layer of unmachined aluminium makes a difference. We could anodize the parts, but I think like Teflon liners are even better. See you next time.